All right, guys, welcome to our mini session of Education Day for Sheboygan County Leadership, Class 2020. We appreciate that all of you guys have joined us today. Just a quick update, we are looking to do a few mini sessions just to keep us on track from what we missed back in April and then what we will be missing next week. So again, thank you guys all for coming. Today is Education Day, so the session goal is to provide awareness of lifelong learning process from early childhood through adult life and the potential impact on Sheboygan County. Future leaders will use this awareness to integrate more active involvement with the business community and education process. So since this is a mini session, we are bringing you the higher educations today. So we have Missy with us from UW Green Bay campus. We're gonna have Jessica Lambert second from Lakeland University and Bobby Joe from LTC. We'll also have presenters from Big Brothers Big Sisters and Inspire. And then we'll wrap up around 10 o'clock with questions, follow up, and kind of give you guys an update of the next session. So Missy is here with us right now. If you guys have questions while she's doing her presentation, we ask that you put it in the group chat. Then we'll ask her. She does have to leave after her presentation. Some of the other presenters will be popping on and off. Bobby Joe from LTC is already on as well. So feel free to ask questions, just like we would be if we were in our normal setting. It's just a little bit different this morning. So I'd like to introduce Missy. She works at UW Green Bay, the Sheboygan campus, and she's going to give us an update about what they do for higher education and things like that. So go ahead, Missy.
All right, thank you. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. All right, can everybody see my screen? Yes? Perfect, okay, good. Like Nellie said, my name is Melissa Schleicher and I work for the UW Green Bay Sheboygan campus. Below is my contact information and then the link to the website. So feel free to jot that down. Like Nellie said, I'll be jumping off at 8:30, but feel free to give me a call or email if you have any questions following the presentation. And if you have a question, just kind of raise your hand. You know, we can keep this very casual. I don't think I have 30 minutes of content, so lots of questions, feel free. So we'll get started. So if anybody's wondering, UW Green Bay Sheboygan, I'll just give you a quick background. Since July 1 of 2018, UW Green Bay joined with UW Marinette, UW Sheboygan, and UW Manitowoc. So in the corner you can see the map of all the UW schools, 2-year and the 4-year. So each 2-year campus merged with the 4-year campus around the state. And so UW Green Bay received 3 of them all along the lakeshore. So we cover 16 counties from Marinette all the way down to Sheboygan. We offer an accelerated associate's degree that I'll be kind of going into more detail in a little bit. And then at the Sheboygan campus, you're able to receive a select number of 4-year degrees if you'd start this spring already. Mechanical engineering, business administration, health information management and technology, a BFA in writing and psychology. So all those 4-year degrees can be taken start to finish right here on the Sheboygan campus. And then we have a number of online degrees, data science, health and wellness management, nursing leadership, and sustainable management. We also are rolling out an executive impact MBA that will be starting in the fall. So, all right. So my role is in the continuing ed and the community engagement space. So I'm just gonna kind of break down credit versus non-credit. So for the credit side, that's for a degree-seeking student looking for their associate's, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, things like that. And each credit has a set price. Whereas for the non-credit, it's more adults just wanting to gain that general knowledge, learning a skill that they might not have, or they want to increase that skill, and just enriching their understanding on certain topics. Typically, they're cheaper than credit courses just because there isn't that set price. So for our continuing ed space for UW Green Bay Sheboygan campus, we like to offer workshops, conferences, and customized trainings for businesses and professionals in Sheboygan County. We provide training to just try to keep employees on top of their game as the workplace is evolving and they want to either stay in their current role and just be the best employee that they can, or look for that promotion or maybe a new career path that they're looking for. So I'll just quickly open our website so you guys can see that as well. Perfect. All right. So here's our main page. Again, it kind of breaks down each of the Sheboygan and Manitowoc campuses since they're so close. We kept them on one page. And on the left-hand side lists all of the different education that we have. We have a few things planned for summer, but just with COVID-19 and the craziness of this spring, we've been trying to move a lot of things online and just trying to keep this virtual learning and still an option. So we have a digital marketing course that we'll be offering in July. That most likely will be online as well, but we're looking forward to that. We're also going to be doing a family garden workshop, and we'll be mailing little home garden kits that families will be able to grow, and then they'll be able to do a Zoom session with the instructor and kind of give an update on their garden and ask any questions that they might have. So,
Missy, we can't see the website.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh no. Can you see my PowerPoint?
We can see the PowerPoint, but not the website.
Can you see the website now?
No.
No.
I think when you share your screen with Zoom, it only shares applications. So you selected PowerPoint versus the website.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll just put this in the chat, and you guys want to peruse it later, you guys can do that. That works? Perfect. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Well, I'll just mention again some of the opportunities that we had planned for spring and summer, and I'm just trying to rearrange those things to either virtual learnings or just moving them back for fall. So each year we do an administrative professional day, and that's a half-day workshop for anybody in an administrative role. And anybody who needs continuing education hours is able to receive 4 hours worth for that day. Unfortunately, we canceled it this year just because of everything going on, but we look forward to hosting that each year to give back and thank the administrative professionals in our lives. We'll be rolling out a financial management for non-financial managers online course. This was initially going to be an in-person hands-on afternoon, just kind of getting that the basics of financials and understanding that as a manager and how a budget kind of plays into your role. But that'll be an online course as well now. We were really looking forward to the Wisconsin Tourism Summit that we were planning on hosting in May with the Department of Tourism and kind of key partners in Sheboygan, Manitowoc, and Green Bay. They were going to talk about different tourism opportunities and just the importance of all guests and tourists that we receive in the summer months and also in the winter months. So hoping to reschedule that, return that to some kind of online platform, but just knowing that the tourism industry has probably changed for the long future ahead. I'm just trying to re-image that. So we have a few other workshops, conflict resolution, the digital marketing one I mentioned earlier, and then also a nonprofit conference in August. All right, so then we also offer a number of certificates, both online and in person. So online, you can see that we have supply chain management, management and health systems, data science, project management, sustainability, and supervisory leadership. So a few of them are already started, and anybody can still join and take them as they are rolling. And then there's a few of them that we are rolling out for either the summer or fall of this year. And then later in the year, we have an in-person one of excellence in nonprofit leadership. That'll be hosted in Green Bay. But after we host that, we hope to get groups of individuals in the Sheboygan, Manitowoc, and Marinette area to kind of join and become kind of a cohort of people of networking and really bond together to help all the nonprofits in the area. So, all right. So our accelerated associate's degree, something that I mentioned before, has been designed to really help that working professional who has a family, home to take care of, a job that they still have, but really wants to get their education in a very speedy amount of time. So it can be completed in 5 semesters, and you can choose one of 4 emphases: business concepts, foundations of education, or organizational development, or workforce solutions. So you can apply anytime at one of our branch locations, Manitowoc, Marinette, or Sheboygan. And you can begin the degree at the start of any semester starting in fall of 2020. So typically a semester is about 14 weeks, and these will be 6-week courses, and you'll take 2 at a time. So you'll be finishing 4 courses in a term in 1 semester. So you'll be able to finish in 5 semesters. Cool. All right. Next is something that we offer with all of our certificates is what's called a digital badge. And it's a validation of an accomplishment or a competency that you learned during a certain class or workshop. So you can see below, this is for the supervisory leadership certificate. And it can be put on your resume, your LinkedIn, an email signature, anything digital to show customers, clients, future bosses, future employers, that you took a certain class and you learned XYZ competencies. So if you click on the badge, it would bring you to our website, which would list the different courses that are in the supervisory leadership, and then what the learning outcomes and just a brief outline of the course, who the instructor is, and what their credentials are, and then just kind of showing that you took the course and now you're leaving with this skill set. So yeah. All right. So another thing that UW Green Bay Sheboygan offers is customized trainings. So we've been able to bring training typically in person, but we're also happy to do things virtually at the moment, either right to your workshop or right to your employer, or we can host it on our site and have everyone come there. So in the past, we've offered a number of topics, as you can see below. A few of the ones I'll highlight is Culture Academy, just building the workplace of the future. So really working with small to medium-sized businesses on how to adapt to the evolving workplace and how to handle remote workers and things like that. So project management that I mentioned we have a certificate for, just really breaking down a project and learning how start to finish, how to handle projects to be efficient and save money and time. And then also a number of communication courses, public speaking, crisis communication, social media, writing, resumes, things like that. So a number of topics that we can offer either right on your work site or on our campus. So, all right. So another piece of our umbrella is the community engagement side. So we encourage anybody that we're welcome to utilize our space. You can rent it any classroom or any space, the theater, the gym, on campus for meetings or events. All right, so the soup event, I don't know if anybody was aware of the soup event that Activate hosts each fall and spring. We're really excited to host that on campus this spring, but unfortunately we did postpone it. But like activates using our space, we just encourage everyone to come on campus and feel free to use the beautiful space that we have. We also have a program called the Lifelong Learning Institute. So it's a member-led program offering non-credit enrichment classes. Our audience for this institute is 55 plus, and the classes are during the day, and they're 2 hours long. And anybody can be an instructor, and anybody can be a participant. And the classes range from an FBI, history of an FBI agent. So there's a Green Bay member who's a former FBI agent, and he just retells stories about his time as an FBI agent. And the members just are fascinated by listening to stories about his experiences. To cooking, we have festival foods come and they bring samples and cook in our kitchen on campus. We had a lady from Pine River Dairy Cheese back in February bring all samples of cheese and just go through that cheese process. So just a number of really interesting classes that people can just come and learn about. And so that institute is, you pay $125, and that's access for a whole year, and you have 30 classes that you can sign up for in the fall, and then 30 classes you can sign up for in the spring. So you have a year's worth, and you can sign up for up to 60 classes. We also offer summer camps for the youth in the area. We have a Wizarding Academy that's all Harry Potter based and focused. Last year we had a one-day Harry Potter experience, and so this year we're expanding it to 2 days, and they play Quidditch, and they made potions, and they made butter beer, and just a number of other things, all Harry Potter based. We have coding camps for kids to learn how to code their own games and Minecraft and things like that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the family gardening workshop. We also have travel as part of the continuing education and community engagement umbrella. So we offer a number of day trips around the Midwest. And we actually did have a lot of parents. So Mark said, can I go to the Wizarding Academy? And we actually did have a number of parents saying, can you make this an adult event maybe at night and have all of us come back? So that kind of sparked an idea to have a Game of Thrones night. So we're kind of looking at that to have a Game of Thrones event on campus. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to host that soon. So we have travel. We have a number of day opportunities, typically in the Midwest. We've gone to Chicago. We saw Hamilton last year. We saw Phantom of the Opera in Milwaukee. We actually went to Wicked on March 12th of this year. And that was kind of our last trip before the craziness happened. But we're looking forward to a number of travel this summer. And we also are starting to roll out a number of extended weekend trips to Mackinac Island and Bayfield and Minneapolis and little farther destinations like that. So, cool. So lastly, I had done this PowerPoint a few weeks ago, and it was all before COVID-19 and all of us are sitting at home. So I was like, well, we're trying to still offer all these things. So I wanted to mention that, but just wanted to briefly mention what the campus has been doing since COVID-19 started. So our learning has been moved virtually for the rest of the semester. Summer is kind of being decided on in the coming weeks, and we'll be releasing what the decision is soon. It'll be kind of on a basis of June, July, and August. So we're hoping by August we'll be able to be back. So all of our staff has been working from home, and there's been challenges. Obviously, I'm sure all of you guys have experienced some challenges, some wins, but so far so good. And we've been utilizing Zoom and Canvas and Blackboard for all of our meetings and classes as well. And I just linked to an article from Zoom bombing. I don't know if anybody had heard that term, but a few colleges and even high schools had some Zoom bombers where they had some inappropriate messages or images on their screens as well. So UW Green Bay did have that instance as well for a few of our classes. So we appreciate the heightened security. So all right, well, that's all I have. So that's kind of continuing education at the Sheboygan campus in a nutshell. Again, there's my contact information, and I'll link to our website in the chat box after this. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Missy, I have a question.
Yeah.
So has COVID-19 like disrupted any recruitment efforts for you guys, since now's the time, like when you're talking to the seniors to tell them to come to UW Green Bay? There's lots of different like expos and things that you go to. How has that affected bringing more students to UWGB or keeping more students in Sheboygan for their learning experience?
Yeah, I was actually just on a call yesterday about that, and our student event coordinator has been working on a lot of videos and text messages and links that they can still communicate with the students. They've gone into a few high school Zoom meetings like this and gave presentations about being a freshman on the Sheboygan campus and things like that. So they've had a totally 180 their approach by not being able to, like you said, going to those expos, getting into the classrooms and, you know, talking to them face to face. But they've tried to be as creative as they can with doing it from afar and digitally. So yeah, I think it'll definitely have an effect on all campuses, but I hope not too significantly at all. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, you guys offer a lot of really cool things. So Missy and I are also in a deep dive together with the chamber. So I get to hear about all the exciting trips and stuff that they're planning and all this lifelong stuff. So definitely check out their website, because they do offer a lot. There's a lot of these higher education places that we'll be listening to today offer fun, different things besides just college credits. So
I have a quick question. So I know there's a lot of information on your website. Is there a mailing list or something that we're able to join, that if we forget to check your email or the website every so often, we can kind of stay connected with some of the activities you guys are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. We have both a mailing list and an email list. If you want to drop either of them into an email to me or to the chat, I can certainly add you to both, one or either one, whatever you'd prefer. And then we also segment them out. So if people are interested in the youth camps, they just get the youth camp stuff. We don't want to bombard people who are just interested in one with everything. So
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions at this time? All right, Missy, thank you so much for joining us and giving us our presentation. She just put her email into the chat box as well. So if you guys would want to reach out to her, feel free. She also put the link to their website on there as well. So thanks, Missy. We'll see you soon, hopefully in real life.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and have a good weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you. All right, guys. So our next presentation is going to be from Jess Lambert. She's from Lakeland University. So she will be giving us the information about Lakeland.
Perfect. Thank you, Nellie. Appreciate it. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well, motivated, energized this morning. So obviously, very different presenting to a virtual audience versus in person. In advance, I should probably let you know I do have 4 kids who are in the midst of activities behind me, so I may have a disruption or two, but I'll do my best to manage through. So I'm sure many of you are maybe experiencing similar home life balances as well. So yeah, so Nellie, thanks again. Again, my name is Jess Lambrecht. I'm our Associate Vice President at Lakeland University for our career readiness and cooperative education programs. Basically, it's a fancy title to note that I basically work with our external partners for purposes of helping employ our students, both from our traditional campus and our adult centers, and just kind of hit a lot of different departments around campus to really make sure that we're delivering on our promises. So I do have a PowerPoint presentation just to kind of walk us through some content. Oops, how do I? Let me share my screen. Here we go. All right, so let me know when you can see that. Can you see it, Nellie? Yep, you're good. Okay, awesome. And how many of you, before I get too far into this, how many of you are already familiar with Lakeland, whether you want to participate in the chat or doing both of this? Hold on. Meeting controls. Oop, lost it there. Okay. I know Nellie, I know you're an alum, right? Anyone else in the group an alum or have personal connections or been on our campus before? No? Okay, not much familiarity. That's all right. So we are blessed to be a small little campus. I'm just gonna, can you still see the slideshow? I'm guessing, right? Okay, good. So we're blessed to be a small little campus just north of Howard's Grove, a few miles. We are literally sandwiched between cornfields. You probably don't know where we are unless you're looking for us or you happen to be roaming the countryside. Which is obviously poses some challenges for us in the fact that people don't realize how much we actually do in partnering with the city of Sheboygan and beyond that to be of help to our community members. But we're over 150 years old already. The biggest thing that I think most people don't know about us, or one of the big things, is that we are deliver programs in our education formats to a variety of audiences. Our traditional campus, we've got about 750 students who come from all over the country. We've got a campus in Japan as well, so we get a significant number of students from Japan who come every year and stay on our property. And then we've got about 2,500 students in our adult program. So a big majority of them come from our adult programs in Sheboygan, but then we have centers in Milwaukee, Green Bay, the Fox Cities, Chippewa Falls, Madison, Central Wisconsin, and our online programs. So we serve, over 3,000 students every semester, but in a multitude of different formats. So again, most of our students are actually in our virtual distance learning program formats. They're working adults, maybe like yourselves, and are looking to just finish off their education. Maybe they already have an associate's degree or looking to advance with their company, and getting that bachelor's or master's level degree is important for them. But we are obviously at the core of who we are a residential campus looking to better the lives of students who are between 18 and 25 years old. So again, we're more than 150 years old. We have always been a very innovative place. I think that's a term that we use proudly, and that we're innovative. We're constantly looking for new models, new approaches, new programs, new ideas that are going to help better the lives of the students that we serve. So there is a video. I wonder if I can play this. Hold on. Oh, maybe not. Oh, here we go. So here, I'm going to show just a quick video. It's really a drone video of our campus. So hopefully you can hear it. All right. So we go back to the presentation. All right. So again, a vibrant campus in the middle of cornfields. Highly residential. Again, most of our students on the main campus stay on campus. We've actually evolved in the last 3 years to become more of a year-round campus, where we really are encouraging our students to stay on our campus and participate in academics year-round so that they can continue to actively progress towards their degree completion program, hoping to reduce their time to graduation and actually give them more earning potential. Our president is Dr. David Black. He was our president in the late 80s and early 90s, and he returned to us several years ago as we kind of experienced an odd transition in leadership. And so he returned to the campus and came out of retirement after doing 2 other presidencies. And when he came back to the campus, his main vision was to help our students be able to be more competitive in the workplace and be able to graduate with less educational debt. I'm sure many of you or family members you know are really disabled by the fact that they are crippled by so much debt when they graduate. I think the national average is about $35,000 of student tuition debt, which is crazy. When someone experiences that amount of tuition debt, they can't buy a home, they can't get a car, they are working paycheck to paycheck, they're paying down their student loans, they might have a second or a third job. It's just not a good way, and it's not very sustainable. And we also know that this generation of students also come into college with less financial literacy. They don't know how to manage their money as well because they see, you know, the glamorous pictures of people buying coffees and getting the new car and the new shoes and the new cell phones. They assume everyone lives that lifestyle, but they don't actually financially know how to manage it. And so through our cooperative education program and some of our intentional efforts, we're actually approaching this in a 2-fold capacity, making sure that when our students graduate, both from the day program and our adult programs, is that they've got more work experience under their belt to become more employable and have a little bit more financial savviness and stronger soft skills that will take them into any industry of interest. So when he returned to the university, one of the first things that we did was partnered with our area businesses. So I'm sure many of you work for these organizations in particular. They really have influenced everything that we do, from our curriculum to our services to what we're teaching in the classroom and the types of examples and the case studies we're giving in classes. It's not just here, come learn this theory, but we're trying to be much more intentional about using real life examples in every capacity of the classroom. We're very close in partners with our hospitality partners in the Sheboygan community, our food manufacturing partners, and our small businesses. So you might be familiar with some of them as well, but definitely a major influence of what we're trying to do. So cooperative education is really the focus, of my current position. Again, that term is very loosely defined in what it means for a traditional student and our adult student. But co-op on the traditional campus, our students come in with a 4-year pathway that they're required to actually work all 4 years, and ideally with a company that will help them grow, that they're not just hopping from job to job. I'm sure many of you work for companies that you see a high school college population. They're there for a semester, go home for a month at Christmas break, come back again, and then go home again in the summer. Really frustrating for most employers. And so we've basically put out there with our students that we expect them to be in a year-round capacity to help mitigate some of those workplace issues that our supervisors are dealing with. Interestingly, and I know you asked this, Nellie, of Missy, but we have had significant enrollment growth in the last 2 years, significantly to the point that we are the fastest growing private institution in the state of Wisconsin right now. We've had a 26% enrollment growth the last 2 years. And this next year, we actually assume, so far we're ahead of where we should be. And so obviously with COVID, I think things will shift a little bit. And we are adjusting our recruitment processes and how we connect with them. But it's the co-op program in particular is really resonating with family members and students who are saying, you know what, you're right. I do need more work experience, the one internship on my resume is not going to cut it anymore. And because we're so focused on workplace and employability skills, we're seeing a significant enrollment growth in the traditional programs, with the long-term goal that the students who stay in that year-round capacity will actually want to stay in Sheboygan County, right? We know that there's a shortage of workers, again, pre-COVID. We have a shortage of employees and a diverse workforce place. And so we are trying to do our very best effort in making sure that they have opportunities to grow and maybe consider Sheboygan County as a long-term home for them. In fact, I can think of countless examples of students who come to us from out of state to play collegiate athletics, have a really significant internship co-op experience, and do indeed decide to stay put. So I'm not going to get too far into the co-op program because I'm not sure that this would be of most interest to many of you from a traditional standpoint, except the fact that, again, our students are required to work all 4 years and are actually going through reflective courses during that time frame to help teach them the soft skill development, because we know that's a significant lacking area for most college graduates. So we really focus our processes through all of our academic programs to the 10 National Association of Colleges and Employers standards, again, focused on the soft skill development. It's not because students took that extra English class or music class that made them competitive, right? It's because of how they articulate themselves. It's how they present themselves. It's how they sell themselves. It's how they deliver information with confidence. It's how they understand a diverse workforce, et cetera. So this is in front of students on a regular basis so that they understand what we're trying to deliver on. For many of you, though, if you are looking for an additional degree path for yourself or a family member, some of the interesting options for students is the fact that we do offer a discounted tuition rate for our corporate partners. So really it's a matter of connecting us with your HR or leadership levels who can sign off on an agreement that helps articulate what a partnership might look like. But in general, it's a 20% discount on our undergraduate programs, which is pretty significant. Obviously, we offer very personalized services when it comes to admission and academic advising. We're a small family campus. We are rooted in family efforts. And so everything we do is to really help the individual student, not cookie cutter approaches. And with our flexible formats and really being in that year-round capacity, the nice part about it is we offer classes in a face-to-face mode, in an online modality, what's also called blend ed, where you can literally, like this, log in at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night to get your class materials. You might be busy on a Tuesday night, and so you watch the recording there afterwards. We've also developed what we call 7-week intense courses versus our 12 and 14 traditional formats. But if you know that during the next 7 weeks, you've got a little bit more freedom or flexibility from work and you just want to hit a class and hit it really hard, a 7-week class might be more feasible for you. Or if you know that there's a seasonality in your employment, right? You've got a busy tourism season or a busy accounting season or a busy fill in the blank. We can really adjust, again, according to your own needs, family environment structure, and workplace ebbs and flows. So really, we offer courses in a year-round capacity. Our traditional students take as many online classes as some of our online students do at times. And the other really great part, though, I think that, again, most people don't realize it at a private college, is we actually are one of the most aggressive private colleges in the state to take transfer credits. In many cases, we do a better job than the UW systems to take transfer credits. So most students who enroll with us with an associate's degree or years of credits from other institutions, actually we take up to 90 credits, which means most students are only needing to be with us for 18 months or 2 years before they actually finish out. So a really aggressive credit transfer process. And then we've also, in that spirit of experiential learning and employability skills, have designed a student design or a self-design program where students can actually, like yourselves, you're doing a major project at work, you could potentially actually earn credit for that with some faculty oversight versus, again, sitting in an extra class just for the sake of sitting in a class. I think our best example of that is we had a student who worked at Johnsonville and developed the new retail space for Johnsonville. So that entire project took over a year to develop, between zoning requirements, government approvals, to designing the actual layout of the space and the marketability of it. And that actually we awarded college credit for. So again, something she was going to do anyway that we could actually turn into a credit-bearing experience. So our most notable programs are in business, accounting and finance, strong programs in psychology and criminal justice as well, marketing, computer science, IT. We've been pretty innovative in developing some new programs. We also recently added a food safety quality program for quality assurance types roles within the food manufacturing industry, really, again, influenced by our company partners. We have a management information systems program, which is really a hybrid of business and IT, being able to talk the talk with your business partners, but actually understand the coding and behind the scenes process of an IT structure. And then a variety of other emphases areas that might be of interest to you. Our MBA or our master's programs, rather, we have an MBA, but we also developed, which you won't see on this slide, a master's in organizational leadership, which has been more popular actually than our MBA program. It basically strips out the finance and the economics of the business program and adds in more leadership development, organizational development, psychology components to it. So it tends to be more popular for folks who don't really want the math and the financial side of things. We are very strong in our master's in counseling program for individuals who want to become school counselors, community counselors, or even move into higher education. And then the other thing I was going to mention is that we also have a Develop You program, which is basically our version of community education, community support services for companies who really have something specific that they're looking to train their teams on. We develop customized training sessions because we have a high level of number of experts on our campus and a variety of topics of our professors and educational partners going out and actually working with companies to develop a training program specifically for them. So there's some examples of what that might look like. So that's just a really high level overview of Lakeland, who we are, where we're located, and what we've got going on. It is a very exciting time, you know, again, COVID aside, but we're growing. We're growing quickly, and so we're continuing to adjust to better meet the needs of our students and be able to deliver on the promise where more students can gain employability skills and be able to enter the workforce more quickly. So with that, questions? I feel like I just kind of talked really fast.
I'll start off, Jess. So I went to Lakeland and I graduated in 2008, and literally it is in the middle of a cornfield. If you guys don't know where it is, it's in between Howard's Grove and Elkhart Lake. So if you're ever making a trip out to Elkhart or anything, drive by. It's a beautiful campus. But the one thing I wish I had that you guys had is this your co-op programs when you're working with different companies. Like these kids, like they're getting kind of handed a silver platter as long as they do their work and go to work and do everything. So I'm like so jealous of that. Really, I am.
Well, and the nice part about that, I mentioned that students, when they graduate, they'll graduate with about 24 to 27 credits because of work, right?
Yeah.
And again, if you think about a 120 credit program, that's about a quarter of their credits are coming because of work, which is so important, as you probably know, some high school or young students anyway, that graduate and they're like, oh, I did my internship.
Right.
I should be able to get a job. It doesn't work like that anymore, right?
No, it doesn't. So I'm jealous of these students. Now, how can companies and people get involved with the co-op program with you and Lakeland University?
Great question. So really we're looking for partners, strategic partners. And what does that mean is probably defined by each company a little bit differently. We need companies who are wanting to help influence our curriculum and kind of review our curriculum, making sure that what we are talking about in classes is sound. We always could use guest speakers. The students who are in the co-op program are required to take this 1 credit class that actually I teach at 8 o'clock in the morning normally. It's a professional skills class, so they have to do practice interviews, they have to go do job shadow, they have to do industry research. And so we can always use volunteers to help do practice interviews, help bring students on site or have a virtual meeting with them to tell them what a day in the life of someone who's a financial analyst might be, or a chemist or whatever. And so we could always use volunteers in that capacity. And then obviously we need companies who are going to hire our students. And so again, a core function of what I do is to help companies structure what that looks like. Is that a 10-hour-a-week role? Is that a full-time role? Is it a 6-month position? Is it a year-long position? What are the company's pain points and hiring needs? And how can I help adjust that so that a student is going to be more successful in that role?
So if companies like, so we're have a lot of different companies on this, if they're interested, they should get in touch with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the other part too is if you have an interest in finishing your degree, or you know your employees do, your fellow colleagues, certainly, again, because I don't think people always think Lakeland because of where we're located, if they want to earn an educational discount, I can help them facilitate that process as well. So whatever that means to you, and how we can deliver a better education for your employees or people that you're mentoring, by all means. And I don't know if I can open up the chat here. Were there any other questions?
Okay, I have one more thing too.
Sure, please.
So I just saw you guys are building some new residential halls.
Oh yeah, we just
want to talk
announced
about that
last week. Yeah, so we just got a grant from the DNR to actually reconstruct or tear down 2 of our old facilities and build 2 new brand new ones. We are at maximum capacity of our residential facilities, and some of them are very old and dated. And so we're actually going to be tearing down into 2 halls in phases and building up 2 new suite style properties. Again, we're growing. We've had a good track record the last several years because of the co-op program and what we do with company partners. And so we need to be able to accommodate the student space on that. And again, we're a year-round campus. So the last 2 summers, we've had over 150 to 200 students on our campus, right? So we shuttle, actually, here's the other cool part. We shuttle our traditional students to work, right? So there is no barrier for a student to say, oh, I don't know if that's really of interest to me, or I don't know if that's really going to help me, or I can't get there. We take out almost every possible barrier for them to work. And that's an important part of what we do. The other really cool part, I don't know if you also saw, but we also announced in the last couple of months a new esports team. We have 18 different collegiate sports, and Amon Green from the Green Bay Packers is our head coach of our esports team. I think we already have like 50 people who have expressed interest, and it'll kick off in the fall to participate in that collegiate sport. And the cool part about esports, if you're not familiar, is they do it from our campus. So we're enhancing our technology and developing some spaces for those students. So it's going to be another collegiate Division III NCAA sport that they actually have to meet certain guidelines, training practices, tutoring, study hours. It's just like a football team, if you can imagine that. So if you're at all a techie and love, I don't know all the games, so forgive me on that, but if you're at all interested in esports, it is a hot market right now. Anyone in here familiar? I got a couple of head nods. Anyone familiar with esports? Right, it's a gaming community, so it's pretty phenomenal.
Right, and with all the technology and way things are going now, especially with COVID-19, how we're running this meeting, you know, it's only going to continue to grow and blow up. So very cool. Does anyone else have any questions for Jess? Anyone?
Beautiful. Well, I look forward to meeting and connecting with all of you at any time.
Yeah.
And Nellie, am I supposed to email you the PowerPoint, by the way?
You can email it to me and we'll get it out to the group then.
Okay. Sounds
yes,
good.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And you guys, if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out with Jess if your companies may want to work with them in the future. It's great. You can get out to campus and check it out. It's very cool. Very cool. Little.
Very good. Thanks again, Nellie.
Yep.
Bye.
All right, guys. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule right now. We have a few minutes before we have Bobby Joe start. Does anyone have questions about anything so far that we had? Anyone? Oh, chat's blowing up. No. All right. Can you guys still see Jess's PowerPoint on the screen? Is that still showing up on everyone's? Yes. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. So Bobby Joe is on the call already with us. So I guess we'll just keep rolling here, guys. So Bobby Joe is from LTC, which is located in Cleveland, and I'll let her take it from here. Just gotta unmute yourself, Bobby Joe. There you go.
There. How's that?
Good, good.
Good. So I have teenage daughters and they're still in bed. So I won't have any interruptions except maybe a barking dog. So my name is Bobby Joe. I am with LTC. See if I can share this here. There. Okay. I have been with LTC for the past 11 years, but before that, I've been in higher education for about over 20 years. So I'm kind of the OG of the office, I guess you could say. We are one of 16 technical colleges. You can see some of our partners there, Fox Valley, Northeast, MATC. We are on the Lakeshore, right in Cleveland. We have campuses in Manitowoc and Sheboygan. They are more off-site campuses. Some of our general education classes are offered there, as well as a lot of community outreach for English language learning students who need to complete their GED, HSED, attend those campuses. As far as educational opportunities go, we offer certificates, which are really based on job or skill training. So an example would be, oh, I need to come in and update my medical coding skills because a few years back there was a change in coding. So we would give a certificate, or we would do a skill training. Another popular one, we have a lot of in the autos area. So say an employer wants somebody just to be certified in auto painting, then they could get a certificate in just that area. It's a short number of classes, kind of down and dirty. In a semester or two, they could be done. The technical diploma, which can last 1 to 2 years, involves more extensive job skill training. So this is definitely a lot of hands-on. Technical diploma in dental assisting. It's a short program. It only lasts 6 months. It's very lab-based, very hands-on based, but you get that technical diploma in 6 months. Medical assisting, auto maintenance, auto mechanic. Those are all tech diplomas that, again, really lab intensive, hands-on intensive, done in 1 or 2 years. Then we also offer associate degrees. Those, again, job training, but these now are going to include the general education classes. I know you heard from Lakeland. We are big partners with Lakeland in that they will take all of our credits, and then students are able to roll those into a bachelor's degree. So it really does end up being the first step towards a bachelor's degree. We have over 70 degree programs. Before my role as a career coach, I was an academic advisor at LTC. I just had the healthcare programs. So it was a big switch to learn about all these amazing hands-on and some very specific programs that we offer. Definitely hands-on learning. Even in our IT classes, the students are taking apart computers, putting it back together. In the marketing class, they are doing things they would do on their job. They're making posters, they're making promotional materials. And our welding is also very hands-on. So there are always people that have worked in the profession. So they can honestly say, hey, this is what you need to do on the job to be a success. They also attend continuing education opportunities, so they stay on top of what's hot and new in their industry. And our students really gain a lot of value from learning from people who have done the job already. They come from the real world, teaching cutting edge technology. So if you've ever been on campus, or if you ever get the chance to visit, maybe you have been already, please come out and see. It's neat to see our labs. Our automotive area is beautiful. Our welding area, we have over 50 booths, individual booths that students can learn how to weld. And of course, our nursing lab, we have a lot of, I hate to call them like dummies, I don't like that word, but simulated people, I guess, where the instructor sits behind a glass and then programs that stuffed person, that mannequin dummy person, through up on the nurse or to have a heart attack. And the nurses have to respond to that situation. So it's definitely cutting edge technology, which for the students is very exciting to work with. 98% employers said, woohoo, yay, we like your grads. And nearly 1,000 grads from LTC enter the workforce Sheboygan, Manitowoc County, surrounding counties a year. Something else it itself on is our response to what employers are looking for. If we're going to start a new program, it's going to be generated by what employers are seeing a need for. On average, if you have that associate degree, you're going to start making $46,000 in a career-related field, which we like to think is a good starting salary. We want to keep people in the counties, and we want to keep people that have good earning potential and can really raise a family. Like Lakeland said, and same with the UW Green Bay campus, we have a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of articulation agreements that we have out there, so you're able to transfer your associate degree to that bachelor's degree. It's something that we really take a lot of pride in. So some stats for you. In 2018-2019, we had 768 LTC graduates. Kind of a neat number. We also do a lot of workforce employers that come in and need a specific training done for their people, Johnsonville. Maybe your firefighters need to have some new training done about skills. So that would be another workforce training. We also bring our training group into your employers. So we can either have you on our campus, or we can go into your facility and update, get things going. An example we did in Manitowoc, the medical assistants needed to be certified. So they needed a brush up because many of them had been medical assistants for quite a number of years, but never got the certification exam. So we'll do a lot of on-site trainings like that to get employers the most latest certification, kind of get their skills up to date. We have 4,204 credential-seeking students. We have a wide variety of full-time, part-time. We do have some programs that are traditional and they're daytime. Nursing, anything in healthcare is usually they're online classes, but students will have to attend a clinical setting, and that would be during the day. No nights or weekends though, but it can be a challenge for some people, maybe especially doing the career switch, to find time that they can do those face-to-face things. But it would take away, I think, to not have that clinical on-site experience for some of our programs. A neat thing, we have over 200 apprenticeship students. So this is where we are working with students in the high school who maybe have expressed an interest in an area. We do a lot with banking. A nursing assistant is a popular one, as well as electromech, CNC, so a lot in manufacturing as well. So students are coming to LTC during their school day and getting paid and earning credit for their high school and college at the same time. So that's kind of a neat thing for high schoolers. Over 800 adult basic education students. Our president has really kind of jumped into this and saying, we are going to educate the communities. There are many people out there that do not have a high school diploma, maybe need to study for the citizenship exam, whatever it may be. Our centers, LTC, Manitowoc, and Sheboygan, are really reaching out to those adult basic education students and helping them build their ability so that they could go on to complete a tech diploma or an associate degree, and then even a bachelor's degree. All right. Oh, everybody doing okay? Give me a couple head nods. Everybody's awake yet? Drinking their coffee? Awesome. All right. Community education. We have a lot of community education classes. So if you just hit up our website, check out community ed, we have things in agriculture. So we'll have farmers coming back saying, I ran my family farm, but wow, I need help with Excel, or I need help with some kind of farm management skills. Business and technology, of course, is a big one. A lot of basic computer skills, some advanced. The digital photo is a big one. People want to learn how to digitize their photos. Life and leisure, I think we've even had continuing ed on dating. So things not to do, or, how to find a successful relationship. And a lot of certificates, like I mentioned before as well. For professional development, like I mentioned about the training for medical assistant, medical coders, training for trade and industry, and again, public safety would be like firefighters, criminal justice students, those students who, again, would need a certain kind of training. Community education, we offer more as real estate agents, which I thought was interesting. Some in trades, if you would like to be an insurance agent, we can help you with that. And we get a lot of continuing ed, or community ed, from EMT. So your first responders. We have EMT basic, we have EMT advanced, paramedic is a big one. So we do a lot in the public safety area too, as far as helping the community enhance their skills and get the trainings that they need. So for more information, here's our Student Futures office. We have career coaches, which is what I do. I'm a high school career coach. We have some that focus on adults. We have our scholarships and events come out of our office. And we also have an advisor for course taking students. And I can honestly say, after being in higher ed as long as I have been, I am always impressed by our students at LTC. I'm going to brag a little bit, because they are learning, say in criminal justice, to go and shoot a gun on our shooting range, or being tased, or being pepper sprayed. They're learning these so important job essential skills, and then they come over and take a general education class in speech, for their ability to go back and forth. Same for our nurses. They're dealing with life or death issues, but then, come on back to campus for a college math class. So I feel like our graduates are very well-rounded. They're very able to act under pressure, and they're definitely serving their community. So with that said, I talk super fast. I need some questions. What do you got for me? Let's see if I can see the chat.
So Adriana said that her son is in the welding program out at LTC for the Youth Apprentice. And she said it's a great,
nice.
Very cool. I know you guys do a lot with Youth Apprentices. We have some up at our Manitowoc branch for United Union that we do a lot too. So that's awesome. Any questions?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Our welders even learn to weld virtually. It is so cool. So they'll put these goggles on, and they're actually like taking, pretending they have the welding the device in their hand and doing it. It's so cool, that they can practice and visualize in their head, and then when they get to the booth can actually do what they've already practiced in their head. I think it's neat.
Very cool.
So definitely, anybody, feel free to come out. Send me an email if you want to visit campus. We'll show you around. We'll get you climbing on the wind tower. That'd be fun.
Yeah, so if you guys have not been out to the Cleveland campus, I've been there a few times, and you were talking about the EMS and stuff like that. All of a sudden you'll be like walking, and you'll just hear like cars like screeching. So they're like practicing their different maneuvers and things with the cars. So that's really cool to see. And when you're just like, what is going on? And you're practicing basically how to drive a cop car.
Yep, exactly. And I've been on a ride along, and it's scary. Like, wait, no, slow down. They're like, no, we have to learn how to drive fast.
Right. So one thing I love that LTC is doing right now, and not sure if anyone else has heard about this. So they do have smaller places in Manitowoc and Sheboygan. Right now they're offering free Wi-Fi in their parking lots for people during COVID-19, which I'm like, that's amazing to give people that opportunity to be able to use some of those things time where they might not have the Wi-Fi at home. Bobby Joe, I was at the campus recently with the chamber actually for the Explore Your Future event, and I saw by the cafeteria you guys are doing some upgrades. What are you guys, what's going on over there? Talk about that for a few minutes.
Sure. So we are actually moving our Culinary Institute It will no longer be downtown riverfront area. We're moving culinary on campus. It's got its good and bads. You know, we all love the culinary being run like a restaurant and eating there, but our students really felt disconnected to the campus. So now we're going to bring it on campus. We're enhancing our baking abilities. So students will be able to take more in-depth pastry and dessert type classes. And then they'll be on our campus. So we moved our career services downstairs. Culinary is kind of taking over the second floor, which I'm excited about because then I get to smell everything they're making every day.
That's awesome. And we also, as you know, we have a lot of different businesses represented through our leadership program. If someone's interested in getting in with the apprenticeship program, would they contact you?
Yeah.
Or
Sure.
That's something you
Definitely.
do?
Yep. We, the Career Coach office works directly with the Youth Apprentice office. So that's something that we could definitely coordinate.
Awesome.
Yep.
Anyone else have questions for Bobby Joe? Okay, we got one in the chat. What's the best way that an industry can get involved with the various programs offered?
We could add you. We like UW Sheboygan said we can add you to a mailing list too. And then when different events are held, you'll be notified. We're going. LTC is committed to being more online marketing versus mailers. So we could easily get you on a listserv, kind of, you will learn about what's going on. And you can email me or the Career Coach inbox.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us an insight of LT.
Thank you.
We appreciate that, that you were able to join us today as well. So thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you. All right, guys. Give me a second here and pull the stuff back up here. Perfect. All right. So we are a little bit ahead of schedule. We have some more people joining us at 9:30 would be our next person. So Nan, do you kind of want to maybe update what's going on over the next couple of weeks, or we can kind of do a follow-up early? Oh, I know what we can talk about. So I'm sorry, I was very, very sick during our last session. So I totally missed Criminal Justice Day. Like, isn't that a fun day? Like, I was so mad. My doctor's like, you can't go back to work. I'm like, no, it's Criminal Justice Day. So I was sad I missed it, but that's always a fun day. Did you guys enjoy it? Criminal Justice Day?
I don't fully remember all of it, to be honest, but in general, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's like one of my favorite days to do, and I've been through the detention center multiple times, and it's kind of weird when all of a sudden you see they're taking people out or moving people around. I don't know if you guys had that experience, or I know last year we were there and we went into where they first bring people in, and they were bringing someone in that was very unruly at that time. So like, you guys got to get out of here, and we're all like, oh my gosh. But it's definitely very safe, as you know, when they walk in and you can't open another door before one closes and things like that. But I was just like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I watched a lot of movies with jail, and so but yeah. So Anne,
Yes.
so the update of how the next couple of weeks are going to play out, or should we explain that?
Sure.
Okay, so since we had to cancel Education Day, we are doing this mini session for Education Day. We also, of course, next week would be our Economic Development Day. So kind of give you guys an update of what it's going to look like. So today we have our higher education's giving you guys an insight of what they're offering. We're working on getting some of the schools, a lot of the schools, they don't have people in the schools right now, so we're working on getting some possible virtual tours and things like that of schools, some of the high schools in Sheboygan County. So that'll be coming up. But next week, Thursday, Derek from Shoreline Metro is going to be meeting with Chad from the city. I believe he's the city administrator, Chad Pelishek. And then Dane Cheslinski from the Sheboygan Economic Development Corporation. They're actually going to be on a bus, and they're going to give us a virtual tour of Sheboygan and kind of go over some of the cool things that are happening, kind of the different developments and things that are going on. There's a lot of apartment complexes and things. So typically when we do that day, we get on a bus with them and we drive around and they show us things and they kind of tell us how they wine and dine the possible investors that come up from Milwaukee, Chicago, all over the place. And they kind of do it with us, what they do with these investors and things like that. So unfortunately we can't all be together, but they will still be taking the bus out and they'll be there. So if you hear rumors or things that may be coming to Sheboygan, so like the biggest one is, we always joke, when's the Olive Garden coming? Like, come with some of those questions and things like that. They're definitely open to answer them. There's certain things I can't talk about until it becomes public, but everything that they'll be sharing with us next week is public knowledge that's kind of out and about already. It's just kind of cool to see what's going on, what they're doing and things like that, what's going on in Sheboygan, what's coming. And just tell you now, we're never going to get an Olive Garden, but you guys can ask the question because they love that question. But Panera Bread was one of them that they talked about last year, and now it's here, so that's cool. So that would be next week. The following week, we're also looking into, for Economic Day, we'll do back-to-back economic and then head back to education, but we're looking into getting a virtual tour of Millipore Sigma, which is, last year was the best award for being a local best of the best type of thing for what they do. So we're going to get a tour there. It's kind of a cool facility. Wish, again, we could be there in person, but they kind of go over what they do, how they benefit the community and things like that as well. We're also working on getting possibly a tour of some of the new apartments. We're still hashing things out for you guys, but we want to make sure that you're getting a good experience that we couldn't do in person with you guys. So we appreciate you hanging in there with our group and the chamber while we're all dealing with this stuff in these uncertain times. So we do appreciate that. So I did just see that Denise is on. Denise is with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So we can keep moving forward and have Denise presentation, and then we can go from there. So Denise, you've been doing a lot of these Zoom meetings. You got to unmute yourself on a few of the chamber things recently. How is it going?
It's good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good.
I thought I was going to jump on and listen into someone else for a little bit before I was put on the stage here. So
yeah, I'm like, oh, you're
freshed up.
No, we found that people are very fast talkers.
Oh, how funny.
And going through things a little bit quicker than anticipated. So we appreciate you being on early. And
Sure, absolutely. And Nikki Zorib has, I've shared this Zoom meeting with her too. Nikki is a new director with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and so she's going to be taking over presentation in the community from me one day. But we didn't get a whole lot of that under our belt once she started. So I asked her to join in this morning and listen in. So
perfect. Welcome, Nikki.
Very good. Well, let me, I'm hoping that I have permission to share my screen. I've got a presentation and we'll go through.
Perfect.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. See okay? Hopefully everybody's got their volume on. We've got some cool video included, and then we'll go through a conversation.
One kid, one mentor, plus one moment can unlock limitless potential. one heart to heart, one inside joke. 30,000 youth are waiting. Be there for one of them. It's time. Become a big today.
So, I am Denise Wittstock. I am the Chief Executive Officer for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Sheboygan County. Just a little bit of my nonprofit background. As you can see, I've kind of always focused on youth services and have my own little monkey youth that are what brought me back to Wisconsin. I like to change those pictures up just to kind of give myself a reminder of why I get so much gray hair when I go home and spend time with them. But I'm excited to be back in Sheboygan County and leading Big Brothers Big Sisters. I did grow up here, but spent about 20 years on the West Coast in the Phoenix, Arizona area. And so working with Big Brothers Big Sisters, if you don't know a little bit about our organization, let me give you just a little bit of a background. Big Brothers Big Sisters is really a very straightforward kind of singular mission, and that is that we create and support one-to-one relationships between kids and caring adults that really is meant to just ignite the power and the promise of their best potential. And so our vision is that every child has an opportunity to reach whatever their best possible future looks like. Big Brothers Big Sisters is pretty old. We were founded in 1904 as Big Brothers and Big Sisters, two separate agencies. 1977 merged officially to become one entity, and we are very proud in Sheboygan County to be the oldest in the state of Wisconsin. We merged in 1982 with Big Sisters of Sheboygan County, which was founded at Lakeland College at the time. And so one of the questions that I get a lot when we do these presentations is, well, that's great, you know, you're 116 years old, aren't you done yet? You know, aren't you done? Like, haven't you fixed it? Haven't you finished what you're meant to do? And so I want to talk just very briefly today about the context of some of those things. And so these statistics, if you want to take just a moment to kind of peek through those, you know, when we talk about statistics like this and when we talk about the state of kids, people always assume that at first glance, this is somewhere a third world country. This is somewhere around the world. But the reality is that these are statistics for the state of children in the United States as of 2017, which is pretty sobering because you assume that the United States is just a little bit more advanced than some other areas. And that may be the case in some things, but when it comes to, you know, the family unit, we struggle just like anyone else. And if we drill down a little bit further and talk about Sheboygan County, 2017 data, again, keeping that information on the same plane, 6% of households in our area live in poverty. And if you talk about poverty, we're talking about an average annual income for a family of 4 of about $25,000 a year, all the way through that ALICE category that you may hear about through the United Way studies, which brings it up to about $64,000 a year for a family of 4. And so if we look at Sheboygan County particularly, we know that there are 4,000 children living in those 6% of households, and they make up 1.3 million of kids in Wisconsin that live in that circumstance. And so what does that circumstance look like? They have unstable housing. They may not have stable access to food. They have abuse, neglect, or bullying, or sometimes all of the above as part of their normal circumstance, in addition to just being a kid. And so that is really the population of children that we most often serve. And I think it's important for us to, you know, to talk about that population does not perhaps look the way it used to. Stereotypically, you'd always assume that that's a single parent scenario, that is, you know, that has some stereotypical norms to it, and that's not the case. We have kids in our program that live in 2-parent families, and their parents are married and have been for a long time and are both employed. so it looks a little bit different. The type of kids we work with looks a little bit different than it did perhaps 30 or 40 years ago. And so why mentoring? You know, people always talk about, you know, when you talk about the word mentoring, it gets a little, you know, I always, in a room full of people, and I can only see a few of you on my gallery slide here on the side, but, you know, when we talk about mentoring, a lot of people often kind of start to fold their arms and sink back in their chair and think, ooh, you know, mentoring, that's a, I don't know if I'm qualified. Like, that's a big thing. Like, that's a program. And so, you know, just from, you know, sitting in your chair, let's make this interactive, because I know some of you are in your pajamas, so we got to keep the blood moving as we go here. But, you know, just by a show of hands, who considers themselves a pretty decent human being? I need all hands. Come on, people. Like, there you go. Thank you. That's it. You know, if you're a pretty decent human being, you can share life experience and friendship and guidance with another human being that may not have a lot of that in their home life. So in 2018, our programs, 240 Big Brothers and Big Sisters around the United States, served 145,000 kids. You know, and our three main focus areas are related to helping kids improve their social acceptance so that they can enjoy healthy, respectful relationships, improving their attitudes about risky behavior, you know, helping them maybe make a different choice than they would if they didn't have a little voice in their ear that had shown them a different way, and improving expectations about high school and beyond. A lot of the parents and guardians that we have in our program have their kids enrolled because they are working and they're loving and they're caring, but they don't, their experience doesn't show, may not reflect what could be beyond. And they want their child to see what their possible future might look like. You know, 145,000 kids sounds like a lot, except there's about 9 million in the United States that really kind of fall into this category. So we have a lot of work to do in Sheboygan County and across the country as a whole. The kids we serve here in this area particularly, you know, average age is about 9 or 10, 50-50, pretty much boys and girls. 81% of our kids rely on school for 2 meals a day. And so, you know, a month ago, we had to pivot very quickly and make sure that we were part of the solution to ensure families understood where their kids could access food once school was closed. We have bigs that may be not working at this time who are helping step up and volunteer at food banks, helping volunteer at schools, helping volunteer to transport food for kids. And 17% of the kids in our program have parents that are incarcerated. You know, if you look at Sheboygan County, I know when I grew up here, a long time ago, despite what my freshening up here may let you believe, you assume Sheboygan County is kind of a white picket fence place, that doesn't happen here. But it does, and it's becoming increasingly prevalent. You know, we work with the district attorney and county law enforcement regularly to talk about the number of kids that are being removed from homes and put in foster care or with a parent guardian kind of kinship program because the parents are incarcerated. And, you know, it happens here just like anywhere else. Interestingly as well, you know, if you look at the demographic of the kids we serve kids of all races, ethnicities, religions, sexual preference. We really serve everybody in our community. It's not that stereotypical, perhaps, snapshot that people may have thought of 30 or 40 years ago. And so what's the big deal? Why do I always like to talk to this group? Why do we hire someone like Nikki to do nothing but get out in the community and talk about the program and talk about the need? It's because there is always a stream of kids waiting. You know, the information I shared previously, looking at our nation and looking at Sheboygan County specifically, that information, it hasn't changed. You know, today, the isolation that kids are feeling will, we believe we will see a huge uptick in the number of referrals for kids. that are sent to our program in the next few months, because school and after school activities is their support structure, and that has now been removed or severely limited. And so kids are going to be looking for other supports. So I include the second piece on this slide about the 23 of the 30 are boys. I just checked this morning. This program, I don't know why, our male superheroes in the community don't always think they're as qualified for something like this. But we have a lot of boys that are waiting in our program, and they just need a cool dude to hang out with. You know, kids video game, kids jump rope, kids do all kinds of stuff that you might do at the gym or you might do at home. You'd be surprised how successful you can be. And the structure of our program is such that you always have a partner in our professional staff. And so you're never in that alone, which kind of helps take some of the fear out of building a relationship with a child out of that. And so straight out of our bigs' mouths, we know that for a few hours a month, you can literally change a child's life. You know, we've got stories and we're living a story right now where I can tell you the big has literally saved a child's life. You know, kids are matched from age 5 through 12. Bigs and littles are screened, and everyone is trained, the parent as well, to ensure that we find the best possible match. We don't do a next step on the queue system. We make sure that interests and preferences and values align before we make a match. And then we get you connected. We are still doing that today. We're connecting people and connecting matches just like this. And we're connecting virtually. We're hosting online events for them. We're having movie parties on Netflix. We're doing all kinds of things to keep matches connected. And I can tell you, I'm pretty hopeful about how those relate and what those relationships may look like in the next 6 months. If I were 8 years old and I got to sit on the computer and talk to a person all the time, I'd think that was pretty cool. But I might be a little bit nervous about hanging out with that person in person if I had to start that way. So this type of connection is really, it hasn't been studied before at the beginning of our relationship. So I think that can be kind of interesting for the depth and the connection that matches have. And like I said, you've got a trained, degreed professional in our program that partners with you the entire time. And so we have a lot of matches that start when the kids are in kindergarten and stay all the way through high school graduation and beyond. And you always have a trained staff person to work with you. So you don't have to have kids. You don't have to have experience with kids. That's what we're there for. We're there to brainstorm. We're there to train. We're there to coach. We're there to bounce ideas off of each other and help you be as successful as you can be in becoming a partner as we help these kids on whatever path they're meant to be on. So we have 2 programs that we facilitate our mentoring through. One is the school-based program. We're not making new matches in that program until the fall. But that program, typically you're meeting at school during the school year, during the lunch hour in elementary and middle school. Now those matches, we're actually just getting ready to have all of the program transitioned to virtual so that they can communicate just like we are with video chat or shared emails through the schools and their school issued IDs, things like that. And our community-based program, again, once we are different days ahead, we'll get back together. You're spending time in the community, but also now connecting in those same ways. We have virtual connections, we have in-person connections that will take place again once restrictions are lifted. But matches are, they're playing online checkers, they're taking museum tours together, they're watching movies, they're learning languages. There's all kinds of things happening that kids and bigs are staying connected during this time. The community-based program is a little bit more flexible. It can be different days of the week, different times of the day, every time you get together. The school-based program is a little bit more structured once we're in that traditional setting. So you're only going to the schools during the lunch hour during the school year. Typically, you don't communicate outside of that. So we have a vision, of course, to be able to serve every child that needs us. If you look at a number like 4,000, just in Sheboygan County. That's a pretty big number. But we know that there are many, many ways that people can engage with our organization in order to help make that happen. And so, of course, we would encourage any decent human being to consider becoming a volunteer and becoming a mentor. Couple hours a month, I'm pretty sure that all of us have that time that we can find. Obviously, we are a nonprofit organization, and so we do rely on philanthropic support to stay around. We don't, some agencies do. Sheboygan County currently does not have any government monies coming in, so we are 100% supported by philanthropy. We also, being a nonprofit, we try to put the staff and the dollars in the most important places, which is serving our kids and our volunteers. And so we do not keep marketing folks, web designers, accountants. We don't keep those positions on staff. So we do rely on community members that are willing to donate time and skill to some of those things. Our board of directors is all volunteer based, and as are our standing committees. So we have 2 fundraisers every year, Bowl for Kids' Sake and Chow Down in Cheesetown, our governance committee, marketing and development. So we do have community members that are participatory in those committees and on our board of directors. The committees and the board structure, I will say, particularly for a group like this, is kind of intriguing because you're partnering with leaders from around the community of all different phases of their careers and all different segments of industry. And so it's a really nice professional development opportunity. It guides coaching, it guides strategic thinking. So that is something, depending on your own personal career path, that you may want to consider. And the one thing, of course, if there's nothing more that you take away today other than this one piece, it's really spreading the word. We have thousands of kids in our community who deserve a chance, and they may not have that chance if it isn't for some trusted, caring adult that is in their life. All of us have had a mentor at some point, whether it was a scout leader or a coach or a teacher or someone early in our career. And so some of these kids, we're really trying to, the kids that we serve, we're really trying to get them that support early on to make sure that they can reach that next level for themselves. Chow Down in Cheesetown is our fall culinary event. We've finished our bowling event this year, but we will be having Chow Down in Cheesetown September 12th. Whether that is in person, whether that is live streaming and food is delivered to your home, or whether that is both, we will be having that on September 12th. If you have an opportunity to join us, the food is amazing always, whether we have it delivered or make it in person. And it's a fun night out at the Plymouth Arts Center. If you're interested in learning more about becoming a BIG, or if you think that this is something that really is a good fit for you, I'm gonna encourage you to go to our website. The inquiry form is, as you can see here, 7 questions. It's not very overwhelming. A live human will give you a call and have a conversation and talk a little bit more about questions you may have. But this process and getting enrolled in our program, it works seamlessly right now as it did 2 months ago. We're having phone calls and video conferences, and people are touring us around their homes if that's the program, with their cell phones, and we're getting kids and volunteers matched. So I would encourage you to visit our website and consider learning a little bit more about becoming a BIG or just the agency in general. What kind of questions can I answer? I'm that good? I got everything covered, and that's amazing. Look at that. I should talk to you guys every morning. That's a good for my ego.
Denise, so you're in Sheboygan County. Are there opportunities more in the county? Like, I live in Elkhart Lake, so are there opportunities out here or Plymouth?
Yeah, we serve the entire county. So we're in every school district, and we have kids referred from all over the county. We are in Elkhart Lake Beulah schools. We're in Plymouth, we're in Random Lake, everywhere. We serve in every 19 of the 26 elementary schools, and then throughout all the area. But absolutely. The form on our website, when you click on that, there's a big green button. It's the only thing really green on our webpage. When you click on that, it'll ask you to enter your zip code, and it guides you to the exact agency that that would serve you. So,
Okay.
So
We have a
there's
question.
yeah, I was gonna say there's a question in the chat.
Yes.
How do littles get in the program? You name it. They can be referred by a parent. They can be referred from a teacher, a pastor, social services, the courts, a grandparent, you name it. Kids can come to us in any number of ways. And we try to, part of our process is to make sure that we understand the safety net that child has around them, and we're learning from as many of those people as we can to provide the best support we can. So if we communicate with teachers, we communicate with Health and Human Services or the courts, families, whoever the guardian may be, we do have a lot of that communication go on very regularly to ensure that kids are supported in the best way they can be.
Okay, I have a question too, another question.
Yeah, of course.
So when all of the COVID-19 stuff started happening, I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and I totally love kids. So I definitely need to hook up with you guys to become a big. But my biggest thing was like, how are these kids going to get food? That when that's their only thing is going to school, and that might be the only good meal they get. Or I know we've done other things with other programs too that we've learned throughout leadership are doing things. But Sheboygan, like I saw on the news in Milwaukee, the kids can just go to the school that they normally had. Is Sheboygan doing something similar? Are those meals getting delivered? You said that some bigs were helping. What does that look like in Sheboygan in our community for the kids here?
Yeah, we are very fortunate. We're very fortunate to be have an easy transition to 100% working remotely and still working full speed, full steam. So we are part of a task force that the United Way and some corporate partners are have assembled to address all of those things. So food particularly, each school district has a food program related to free and reduced lunch. All of those meals are continuing to be provided every single day. The challenge is a parent, guardian, or child themselves has to go to one of the locations to pick up the food because it is being prepared centrally. So for Sheboygan Area School District particularly, there are 10 locations that kids and families can go to. This is the same dynamic in the summertime. So families that do receive that are very familiar with that scenario. The piece that we're also supporting is helping families and bigs who are experiencing job loss or some sort of hardship because of this. We're helping also get them to the right places to access emergency food, sign up for food share, sign up for SNAP, do some of those other things. So kind of case managing them through that access process. Kids that are in a school district have access to food. The Sheboygan School District, I can only speak for them because they serve the majority of the kids in the community, and I'm most familiar with that. But I do know they are offering food regardless of if the child is enrolled in the district or not. A child can come up and just get food that day, and they're providing breakfast and lunch. The places that the other angle of food insecurity, there's something called a backpack program. So a lot of kids that rely on free and reduced lunch take a backpack home on Friday that has food in it to keep them fed over the weekend. The food bank, and which disseminates to food pantries, is receiving the type of volunteer support they can handle, which is younger folks, a few at a time, to help people get those backpacks packed and then delivered in vans throughout the county to make sure that those kids are still getting access to that. So it's a pretty interesting framework that has been mobilized pretty quickly. nonprofits that are shut down and can't deliver service are lending vehicles, they're lending staff to do some of the volunteer work in a socially responsible way. The food bank, a lot of their volunteers are older folks, and so they're at home. And the young folks are stepping in and doing that kind of packing and things. So from a food perspective, we're doing the best we can with relief monies to get people access to emergency food, but kids are having a pretty decent, at least the ones that we can reach out to. I mean, we've got about 800 kids, 800 participants in our program that we're supporting, and then weekly we have those task force calls. So we're very lucky. As I talk to colleagues around the state and country, not every community has somebody that's stepped up and been willing to centralize. So we're very lucky there.
Awesome.
Let's see, other questions that were in here. Is there a minimum age to become a big? 16 for the school-based program, 18 for the community program. School-based, 16, but we really, in a traditional setting, they do need to get themselves to the school. So they would have to have a way to transport themselves. How do you get the needed technology to the littles for virtual meetings, right? Yeah, that's a tough one. So we're right now, we're fortunate. Littles that are in 2nd grade and up have their Chromebooks from their schools. We are in the process of doing kind of an assessment with our families and talking with donors to, if we need to purchase technology and provide that to the families that don't have access to that once school is over. If school resumes this year, which I don't think it will, but if it does, they will collect the Chromebooks and they won't have access over the summer. If school does not resume, a little birdie may have said they're considering letting kids keep those Chromebooks over the summer. But that is something that we're thinking about long-term, because we don't know if we're ever going to have to do something like this again. And we don't know what part of this might be appealing to families. And maybe there's a virtual aspect of our school-based program or our community program that we hadn't thought of before that people are really enjoying. And so we are talking with donors. We're talking with folks to really understand how can we provide that device, whatever that device may be. Our national office, I can tell you, we are very fortunate to be part of a national federation. I'm on a call this afternoon. Very quickly, we have created an e-mentoring platform that we will be hosting as a national organization that people will have access to as well. So there will be a safe place for bigs and littles to communicate, where we can kind of keep an eye on language and videos and monitoring, things like that. But again, the technology, and that's where the donor, the community will have to rely on some community support to purchase devices if that ends up being one of the paths we have to go down. So.
Awesome. Any other questions?
So always remember our initials, bbssc.org. It's pretty easy. Just a big green button that says "Become a Big." 7 questions. There's how many of you on the call? Perfect. I would expect a few applications before the end of the day. Don't do it now because Nellie's still talking. You don't want to be rude because she can see you. She can see you typing. Yeah, it's true. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate. I'm going to put, I'll put my name and email address in the chat so that you guys have access to that. Or if there's other things you just want to know about the community activation, what's going on, if you have questions about something not kid related, but a way that you can make a difference or help, I'm happy to share just kind of more broad-based community United Way task force kind of stuff as well. So. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for presenting to us today.
Absolutely.
Very informative.
Stay safe. I can't wait to see you all in person. What else? Wash your hands.
Yeah,
that's my PSA.
Thanks
so much, guys. Take care.
Bye. All right, so we have one more presenter today. Inspire Sheboygan County. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but they will definitely tell you all about it. It looks like Candace is here with us, and she's going to present for sorry, Inspire Sheboygan County. She can explain it all because she'll do a better job than I could. So,
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Candace Boutel. Again, I'm with Inspire Sheboygan County, and my colleague Julie Frausto is also on the call today. And then we have one more, our fearless leader, Nikki Kiss, is actually our executive director. And even in these virtual times, she double booked herself. And so Julie and I will be stepping in just to tell you a little bit about ourselves and our organization. Julie, if you want to kick things off.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and present on the screen. I've been getting better at this. There we go. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, so Inspire Sheboygan County, we are a nonprofit organization that was started back in 2013, actually out of a group at the Chamber. The group at the Chamber was called the BEP, or is still called the BEP, which is the Business and Education Partnership Committee, which is a group of educators at different levels and also business professionals that came together, and that was way long before me, to bring businesses and students together and to help collaborate and do more with schools and businesses for the overall benefit of our county. So we formed out of that committee back in 2013. Candace and I have only been a part of the organization since 2017, so just a short time, but we've grown tremendously because before that it was just Nikki, and so she doubled herself or tripled herself, and therefore we're able to get into the schools a lot more and get into a lot more businesses, which is very exciting for us. So our whole mission is to connect students to meaningful career experiences. So if you think back in your own life, and I don't know if we can do this on here, but just a show of hands maybe, or a yes, if you have ever been in high school and were like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do after high school? Maybe some of you took those tests that they gave us back then. You answered a bunch of questions, personality, skills, that kind of thing. And it said, oh, this is what you should be when you grow up. Anybody do those?
Give us the old thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm sure there are several hands going up because pretty much every adult I talked to was like, oh yeah, that was me. There are a select few that knew what they wanted to do, but overall, our whole goal is just to connect with students in Sheboygan County, and we've expanded beyond that now, which I'll get into in a minute, but is to connect students to figuring out what to do after high school. So it's our hope that and vision that all students graduate with a career plan, and whether that be military, whether that be going directly into the workforce or to tech school or university. The beautiful part about being a part of our organization is we are not funded specifically by one entity. So we do not have one push overall. And I love telling kids that because I know they get it enough from their parents or guardians. You should go to college. You should go to college. So we can share with them all the options that are out there, which is awesome. And I know a lot of students appreciate that. So just going into our history really quickly, I talked about the Sheboygan Chamber. The recession time, that was looking at, businesses were hurting for employees as they started coming out of that recession back in 2009, I think, or 8 when it started. But looking at how do we shape our future workforce, and not only that, but how do we keep students wanting to stay in Sheboygan County or come back to Sheboygan County? How do we make it more appealing for them? One of our big recent things in the last couple of years is the state of Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction pushed out something called ACP to all the schools. And there's been a couple mandates with that. And ACP stands for Academic and Career Planning. So how can we do a better job at preparing our students for life? Which, if you're a parent, is kind of funny because that's your whole goal, is to prepare your child to be a productive member of society. So it's funny that we're coming back to this. But oftentimes, our focus changes, and we've gotten back on course with how do we prepare students in the best way possible. So that has instituted a statewide use of a program called Zello, and you can see it in the lower right-hand corner, XELLO. It was formerly called Career Cruising. So all middle school and high school students in the county, actually the state, have access to this program, and it's an online software program that they use to do those testings, those skills, those personality tests. They use it to explore careers. They use it to explore businesses. There's many things that we can do with it. But one of the beautiful parts about it is we connect directly with our students through that software program within our county. And then we can also connect with them a little bit throughout the state through the business and the huddles, which are the career conversations students can have. Not to take too long on any one part, what we do, there's so many things that we do, and it's kind of never ending because of what has just happened in the world. We've had to adjust and go into a whole different realm, which I'll let Candace talk about in a minute. But we do many different things. We I kind of look at it as a dating process with kids. We want to get to know them. We want them to get into Zello. We want them to start thinking about their future. And it's not a pressure thing like, oh, you got to do this for the rest of your life. It's a matter of, what are you good at? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time? How can we take that and turn that into a future career? And whether that career involves going to school or just going directly to the workforce, we try to match them up with professionals in those careers to see what those careers are. So we do it in a number of different ways. Obviously, the number one thing is through job shadows. And job shadows we can do as young as middle school already. My son's gone on 3 job shadows now and he's 12, but he gets the benefit of mom pushing him. But we do job shadows. And the nice thing about that is that we really urge our companies to have their employees do more than just a job shadow, right? So we don't want a student going and sitting behind somebody at a computer, showing them what they're doing on a computer. We train our business partners, which we call career coaches, to really work with the students on, being honest and showing them really what their job is, the highs and the lows, the goods, the bads, the uglies, that kind of thing. So they take them to meetings, they take them out into different plant tours, things like that. But job shadows are the biggest thing. We do group job shadows, what we call career experiences, where we work with several companies in the county and beyond our county to have groups of students go in on specific days of the month or specific days of the school year. So Kohler is our excellent example of that. They set up about 9 or 10 different days throughout the school year where they open their doors to allow students to come in and do a job shadow with whatever career area they are interested in. And the beautiful thing about Kohler is they have everything. They have everything but a mortuary, pretty much, and a dentist, actually, we found out. But they have the medical side of it through their connection with Prevea. They have the sports core, the hospitality side of it, and all that's involved with that through their golf and their spas and their restaurants and things like that. And then they also obviously have all of their manufacturing operations. So they can get into the plant, they can see hands-on work that people are doing. They can also go into the offices and learn about what engineers do or accountants do. We leave it up to the company to decide what areas of their business they want to showcase. So for example, if a company is smaller and they don't have a big accounting department, they may not want to do job shadows in that area. But most of the companies that we work with, and right now I think we're at about 140 or 145 member businesses that we work with, there's very few areas that they want to showcase. So students know what they know, which is they know, what a nurse does or a policeman or that kind of stuff. So we like to show them, Sargento makes more or does more than cheese. They have an IT department, or Kohler Company has an amazing graphic arts or communications department. So students oftentimes don't know that all of these companies have all the different areas to help support the making of cheese or bratwurst or plastics or whatever it may be. So we like to enlighten students, and we do that through those job shadows, career experiences. We also are now putting a big emphasis on working with teachers, and one way we're doing that is bringing business professionals or people that are working in the jobs or careers that students are interested. We bring in those professionals to the classroom to do different activities with students. They either can do mock interviews, they can do resume projects or resume building. They can do just talking about their career and how they got to where they are. There's so many adults working that never had a straight path to where they are. And so we love when people share their path, because it's just exciting to let students know, you know what, you don't have to know it all at the age of 14 or 18 when you graduate. So we do a lot of the guest speaking. A lot of schools are designing events. Like many schools in the county do a reality day where they are actually setting up almost like the game of life within a day, where students get to pick a job and whether they're married or whatever have you, and then they have to live as an adult, and they get a checkbook and a certain amount of money that they bring in, and they have to pay bills and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of fun. We do that all through volunteers. So people like you that have said, yep, I wanna be available for students. You would be a career coach. You can sign up as a career coach through your company, or if your company is not a member of Inspire, you can sign up individually on your own. So for example, my husband works for a company out of Madison, but he is signed up to work with our students as an individual. We do, the companies that we work with do tours, the discussion huddles. So part of the business professionals or career coaches working with students are connecting through Zello. Now this is really just, Zello went through a major transformation in the last year and a half. And so this is a different looking program to the students, but it's a little bit more interactive for students, so that when they go in, the screen that you're looking at is a slide from Zello. They can explore careers. They can look at it. What kind of education do I need? Do I just need high school? Do I need a 2-year or 4-year? Do I not need it? Or do I need military or something? They can look at it. You can see a slide bar here by income level or salary range. And then it brings up different careers, and then they can click on them and explore them. When they do that, that will pull up, these are 2 examples of careers that were pulled up, and it talks about the jobs that are available. The cool thing about Inspire Sheboygan County is that we actually have real business professionals. So when you scroll down this page in Zello for students, they have this area right here, if you can see it, it's very small, but called huddles. And those are directly connected to people like you, our career coaches in the workplace. So a student can click on huddles and ask that business professional a question. So because we are connected statewide across the state of Wisconsin, we have about 1,600 career coaches. And thanks to our huge efforts and cooperation in Sheboygan County, we have about 450 career coaches just in Sheboygan County. So it's people like you just offering their time, usually virtually, to connect with students through these huddles. So students can go into the huddles and they can ask a question. And let me see if we actually get to it. I don't know that we do, but sorry if I'm making you dizzy. No, we don't get into it. But the huddles are where they can ask those questions. When that happens, the career coach gets an email automatically that says, here's the question. But I just noticed that we're way over on time. So I'm going to let Candace finish out. And then if you have questions at the end, you can feel free to ask.
Yeah, or feel free to put those right into the chat as you're thinking about what we're telling you here and what we do. So Julie, if you want to go back to the what we do slide, what you can kind of notice is that it's a progression. So the way we connect with students, it isn't a one and done. It's not a spend 3 hours thinking about this or talking about this and then never think about it again. It's this gentle progression for students. And we talk to them all the time about how now is a great time to do this exploration. It's very, low risk. You're not spending money on this. You're not spending years of your life pursuing an education only to find out later on that it is not at all what you wanted to do. So some of those touch points that Julie was talking about, that can happen when they're younger in middle school. It might happen freshman year. And then we really want to start getting students to take it upon themselves to continue these experiences. So that job shadow is really the first piece. And then comes some more in-depth experiences. Some of you might be familiar with the Youth Apprenticeship Program. Some of you might have gone through that. That is a state-sponsored program in many different industries. There's like 11 different career fields that you can go into, and it's that year-long work experience. So students are earning credit for that. They're taking related coursework while they're still in high school, and they're actually working at a company within that industry to really be immersed and decide if that career field is right for them. What our partners at Sheboygan Area School District realized probably about 5 or 6 years ago is that it was too big of a jump to go from job shadows all the way to youth apprenticeship. Here's my first experience of 3 hours at a company, and now I'm committing 450 hours in my junior or senior year to this company. And so they developed what was called a youth co-op. And we have since taken over that program and taken that county-wide to all of our schools and partners. And what that is, it's very similar to the youth apprenticeship, except we're governing that here locally so that we can make more decisions about what that looks like. And for us, a youth co-op is a 9-week work experience. So when we're talking about students to just try things out, just explore this a little bit, 9 weeks sounds much more doable than 9 months, right? We can say, hey, if you think you're interested in manufacturing, we have companies that want to bring you in and kind of show you around. It's not that they're going to have you go sweep floors or do the grunt work. You're going to be rotating around this department or this company, and you're going to learn about what it is they do there. You're getting that really inside look. Same thing as with youth apprenticeship. We're going to have them taking related coursework. They're going to earn credit for the experience, and they're going to get paid an hourly wage. So that's usually pretty enticing to students. They know they have an interest, but they're not really sure yet. So they can do that youth co-op and start to gain confidence in their skills, in their interests, and seeing if those are right for them. And we always tell them one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to, reaffirm what you already knew, that you really enjoy this, that it's a good fit for you, or you're going to say, oh, that's not at all what I thought it was. I need to change gears and try something else. And what better time to do that than in high school? Some of the other things that we offer for students, we do offer a career fair each spring. So it was scheduled for May, but as with everything else, we're getting creative with how we are offering these opportunities for students. So we know that we're not going to be offering that career fair in person. So we're looking at ways of connecting students who are going to be looking for work after graduation or even part-time jobs pretty soon here. We're going to look for ways to connect them with companies. And the thing that we've done within this time frame of just these past few weeks during quarantine is creating, instead of those in-person job shadows, we have mobilized a series of virtual job shadows. So Julie's going to switch over to our virtual job shadow landing page here. And we actually held our first one on Tuesday. If you scroll down, Julie, we'll be able to see we have different topics that we know students have been interested in. Education and training. Today is going to be a session on IT. We've got lots of interest in engineering, construction. We brought a couple of those career mentors that Julie mentioned. We brought them together and we're going to be doing something just like this. So students are going to be able to log on. They're going to be able to hear about different career fields, and then they are going to ask questions in the chat so that we have at least some of that interaction happening. They're able to get some of that information that they would get from a virtual job shadow. And we have had hundreds of students across the state register for these. We had 70 students registered on Tuesday. I think we have 60 students registered today. Our educators are seeing this as an opportunity for their students to connect with other people other than just them, which is always the benefit of a job shadow. I think we have moms and dads at home that are signing them up saying, you're going to do this because I need a half-hour break and you need to do some additional learning about these career fields. So it's been just really beneficial for everybody involved. It's kind of one of the great things that we can do through Inspire is just mobilize and see an opportunity and give that a try. Our small team is very nimble, and we're able to connect with the right partners, whether it's our schools or our businesses, and make things like this happen. So you can see at the top of this page, there's just a collection of us that work together. It's representatives from our schools, our school counselors, representatives from our companies, that we all come together and put these types of opportunities together. So what's really cool about these job shadows as well, in addition to connecting with the companies, we have at least one school counselor that's going to be moderating, and they're going to talk to students at the beginning of these sessions about workplace skills. So we talked about initiative on Tuesday as a skill that's needed in the workplace. Today is going to be dependability and reliability. So we're still providing really useful and informative opportunities for students. And we just plan to continue working with our partners during these really uncertain times of of how to connect to find ways to do this. So we have all of our pieces online. Students, Julie's showing you the registration form right now. This is how students would go in and register for any of the sessions that we have available. And again, we're doing this now through April. We're probably going to add a few more sessions yet in the first week of May. And then we plan to do another series of meetings like this that are more focused on like employability skills and what it means to get a job and how to get a job and what you need to know about employment and things like that. So it's been really well received so far. And yeah, we would welcome you. I heard the end of Denise's presentation, making a plug for Big Brothers Big Sisters, who happen to be one of our members. But we are always looking for career mentors as well. And it's a really low time commitment. It's mostly virtual. And yeah, you're able to share your expertise with students who are really trying to figure out what their career path is going to be. So we apologize for going over on the time limit here. Any questions? You guys want to throw some questions into the chat? We'd be happy to answer them for you. Otherwise, I'll put our website in here so that you can always kind of find more out about us. Yeah, anything else, Julie, that you can think of?
No, we would just love to have all of you join us as career coaches. The students love to connect with younger coaches, not saying anything against age, but I'm probably the oldest one on here. So the more younger faces we can get, the better, as my daughter always tells me.
Yeah. Very cool what you guys are doing to help connect students with careers. As everyone knows, it is so hard to find workers. We have, well, before COVID started, we had 3,000 jobs open in Sheboygan County on any given day, and trying to just keep people here and filling those roles is really important. So very cool what you guys are doing at Inspire Sheboygan County and working with the students and things like that.
Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciated it. Does anyone have any other this time for the ladies? All right, so just to follow up, we will be meeting again next week. Same time, same place. Derek and the guys will be giving us a rolling tour of Sheboygan. Nan, do you have anything to follow up with or anything? Because we kind of did the follow up in the middle of our speakers, but you're muted.
Just our question of the day.
Oh, yep. So I know we basically a lot of higher education and some of the things we didn't really dig deep into the grade schools, different opportunities there, but does anyone hear anything that they wish they would have had or know of something that's going on now in education or our school systems that didn't happen back in the day? And you're just like, well, that would have been cool to have that.
So you guys can email me your answer to that.
Yep.
I will keep it anonymous. That's fine. Just looking for some feedback.
Yes, some feedback. And like we said, we're going to try to get some of the high schools, grade schools, different types of schools we have coming up in the next couple weeks. So going to give you a more well-rounded day, but thank you for joining our mini session. I don't have anything else. Nan doesn't have anything else. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it. We want to make sure you guys still get the same experience. So we will see you all next week. Thank you.